So let's have a sesh on exam command words for AQA. So questions will have command words, words they are going to have in the question so you know exactly how you need to answer that question. We start with the simplest command words. Give, state, identify, list, often and usually for 1 mark. My advice, say it as simply as possible. Just say the phrase if it needs to be said, or if it's possible, say the word that needs to be said. Say it correctly, but say it as simply as possible. Don't waste too much time, just knowledge on the paper, out. And then the next type of question are likely to be explain questions. Explain questions for AQA are likely to be 2 or 3 marks, and there is a possibility for 4 marks, which are explain. So these 2 or 3 mark explain questions, often the simple techers will be 1, make the initial point that explains the answer to the question. If it's a 2 marker, then ensure that you add an additional sentence. And if it's a 3 marker, as a rule of thumb, make sure that you add 2 additional sentences. For that, you might want to use these chain words. So as a result, therefore, this means, it will help you flow, let the brain flow. Okay, the third thing to be aware of is sometimes you'll see an explain question for 4 marks. That is likely to simply be explain 2 things. Each thing is worth 2 marks, and 2 times 2 is 4. Analyse. So analyse is likely to be the command word for 6 markers. 6 markers. 6 markers, you are analysing, so you're looking at probably analyse the impact of something, or it could be analyse the benefit of something, or analyse the cost of something. For this type of question, you're thinking Maliba, and if you've seen that video, check it out. Make, explain, link, impact, business area. Okay, so make the point, explain the point, link the point, business areas. So you might want to do a Maliba, and then just to curl it in at the end, do however. So if it's, what's the impact of this? Maliba it, and then go, however, there's a con, or however, it depends on this. A quick evaluation, a quick line, just to show that you get the other side of the argument if there is one in these analyse questions. After analyse questions, there are 9 markers, and 9 markers are likely to start with probably the word recommend, but there is an option to start them on advise. For these questions, rough structure, please check out the video in much more detail on 9 markers, but this is just a simple guide to it. So on one hand, Maliba it depends on, that point you've made. On the other hand, Maliba it depends on. And then you've got to make a judgment. You must make a judgment because it's asking you for advice or a recommendation. So make it, give it to them. Okay, so make a judgment, and remember for that, AJKO. Remember, this advise or recommend question is essentially a detailed presentation of your pros and cons and making a conclusion. So just do that. So the last question is going to start with the word evaluate. And evaluate will be the big boy 12 marker at the end of your paper. There'll be one at the end of paper 1 and another at the end of paper 2. What does evaluate mean? Well, it means appraise the evidence from the case study. It means analyse, and we've talked about analysing there. And it also means you need to come to a judgment. And often that judgment is going to be which of these 2 things will make the biggest impact. So you need to essentially use a structure somewhere along the lines of make the definitions of what are the 2 points in the evaluate question. Then Maliba, make the point, explain the point, link it, impact, business areas. IDO, it depends on, do it for the first one, so point A, repeat that process for the other one, point B, so Maliba, IDO, then judgment. And for judgment, remember AJKO. For 12 markers, look, the video's there, the card is up there now, check that out in more detail. But I hope this helps with exam command words so you get ready for that big one.